as the evaluator. Okay, and I already decide what the methodological criteria will be, how I'm going to do this. And I do that more in my discussions with the funder than I do with you. So what happens is it does not allow participants to voice their concerns about the relevance of the evaluation approach, and it initiates disengagement. And in fact, it actually creates fear in some participants. Yes, David? The next phase, we collect the data, and then we actually leave the scene. We take all the data you give us, and we go away, and we analyze that data, and then we come back and we tell you. So, there's no opportunity for participants to reflect, and to examine or to learn from the data. They don't even actually ever see it, usually. There's no opportunity to develop data analysis capacity, okay, in local participants. And it produces anxiety and cynicism about the process, and it often alienates participants. Now, at this point, I want you to think about the participants being, of course, the people that are taking the program, right? The people engaged in the program. Those are the participants. Okay. Next, please. So then finally I come back. I like to say we, so it's not so much me. But we come back, and we announce the judgment we've made about the results. And we make recommendations, and we tell you what to do. So the difficulty, of course, is the relevance. It arrives too late for improving the evaluation. So there's the beginning, the end, and then the recommendations. I'm going to talk to you about a more iterative kind of process. And in fact, the participants feel left outside of the process and more like objects of the analysis. Okay? And I want to say that this is just not my opinion. Okay, this is by the very nature of what is required to do this type of research and evaluation. It is mandatory that you do this because of the value of objectivity. Okay, so orthodox evaluation and research, as part of the rationale, exclude participants from all thinking and decision-making that generates, designs, manages, and draws conclusions from the evaluation. Such exclusions treat participants as less than self-determining persons. It alienates them from the inquiry process and from the knowledge that is its outcome. And it thus invalidates any claim that this type of research wants to make about a science of persons. It can absolutely be a science of things. Next one, please, David. Okay, so you're thinking? I don't care if you agree or not, just as long as you're thinking. Okay? So I want to propose that third option, okay? And it's what I call collaborative action evaluation. So collaborative action evaluation actually plans and simultaneously implements and investigates change through a series of iterations. This process ensures, well, it's all right, sorry, it was me. One more. Oh. Thank you. This process ensures that all those who are interested in the outcome of the evaluation participate and collaborate in every aspect of it, from its initiation to its conclusion. It creates evidence upon which to base practice and catalyzes change to practice. It's collaborative, participatory, empowering, systematic, and transformative. Thank you. Now, I use this word collaboration, but it's not without its problems. Because if you look up the word collaboration in the dictionary, it says to work together, especially in a joint intellectual effort. No problem, fine. If you look directly underneath, the definition is to cooperate treasonably as with an enemy occupying one's country. Now this is often what it feels like to do participatory evaluation, because we have different interests. So I like to think of, next one, I like to think about collaboration this way. And this is a definition that I've created after working with many, many participants, and they have contributed to this definition. Collaboration is the creation of a synergistic alliance that honors and utilizes each person's contribution in order to create collective wisdom and collective action. Collaboration is not synonymous with cooperation, partnership, participation, or compromise. These words do not convey the fundamental importance of being in relationship, nor the depth of caring and commitment that is needed to create the kind of reciprocity that is collaboration. Collaborators are committed to, care about, and trust in each other. They recognize that despite their differences, each has unique and valuable knowledge, perspectives, and experience to contribute to this collaboration. So I really want you to reflect on that, because in a way I'm asking you, are you prepared to do this, to have this attitude? Okay. Because I do know that this is so essential. Because if you're not ready to do this, then we have to decide something different, okay? So, and just to be clear, there's several assumptions that underlie this way of working. First, that there are many truths, not one truth. Many truths. Knowledge is co-created. It doesn't exist outside of what we make it. The facts have no meaning without a value framework. We all hold values, we all act on our values. I'm going to take exception with the next one that says cause and effects do not exist. I can modify that to say that we can think differently about cause and effects. That phenomena can only be understood within the context within which they're studied. And evaluators are subjective partners with the stakeholders. They're not the experts. They're partners, and it is true. You have, if you can just think like this, you have all this information about the program that I know nothing about. I have a lot of information about evaluation and ways to collect information and data, how to analyze it. So it's like creating a partnership so that together we figure out what's going on with the POETA program. Also, I'd say that worthwhile learning is often personal, obscure, and private. It's still worthwhile. And only some learning appears as behavioral change. And many things that exist are not empirically verifiable. It doesn't mean they don't exist. Next slide, David. How are we doing? Okay? So basically, the principles that underlie this approach are participation and collaboration. Number one, always. Then you have iterations, so you have reflection, planning, and action, which is called praxis. That's a famous Freirean term, right? That's where it comes from. It's focused on change, relevance, empowerment, and sustainability. Yes. I want to show this just in case you don't understand the idea of iteration or haven't heard that word before. So it basically, you are going through action and reflection. So we're initiating, that's what we are doing here in these 4 days. Initiating, trying to figure out what we're going to be doing. We are reflecting and planning. And I like to say it this way rather than planning and reflecting, because we already know something. So we're reflecting on what we know and planning on what we're going to do. Then we're going to do something. And it's my favorite part of doing evaluation this way. We're going to actually do something. We're not just going to collect information. Okay? And then we're going to decide how we're going to collect that information together in practice. And then we're going to, together, analyze the data, and then we're going to reflect and plan again, and we're going to go through another cycle. In our project, there'll be at least 3. Next one. I'm going to say a quick word about this. Georgie's going to talk about evaluation methods this afternoon, and we're going to talk about it again tomorrow, probably. But I want to highlight these because these are what I consider participatory methods. So you can, as I'm concerned, when you do collaborative action evaluation, you can use any method you want, as long as it's participatory. So these are some I'm listing. Leaky and I are going to talk about them more in another day, okay? But just to give you some idea of what they look like. And some of you, you've mentioned in-depth interviews, focus groups you talked about, and some you have experience with. Okay. Again, the thing I like about this way of doing evaluation is it's an empowering process and it builds capacity. So not only the person doing it, but the people that are engaged in it. So everybody learns about evaluation. And I love Freire's quote. He says, people become masters of their thinking by discussing their thinking and their views of the world explicitly or implicitly, which manifest in their own suggestions and those of their comrades. So in other words, it's saying when we are together discussing and talking, we need to have this kind of critical reflection on our work, which is what I think of as reflective practice, and then we can change. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop there. This is for the next talk. So I want to stop there, and I just want to check with you about what your reaction is, what you think about this. Where is your interest?
Comentarios al respecto, ¿qué piensan acerca de la propuesta de Amércias? Impresiones.
Gracias. Marcia, creo que fue súper interesante realmente entender un poco la metodología de trabajo que propone. Quizás hubiera estado bueno tenerlo al principio de las jornadas para entender un poco el enfoque que le querían dar. Esto de abrir a debate, de colaborar todo el tiempo. Me parece que estábamos un poco perdidos el primer día porque como que teníamos las consignas, pero quizás no teníamos la base metodológica o por ahí el pensamiento de ustedes. Pero ahora, bueno, entiendo mucho más. Gracias.